Welcome to the Resume Writing Workshop pre-recorded edition. So, what will you learn today from our workshop? As you can see, you will be learning the ability to communicate what it is of a resume and what's important as part of a career development. We want to help you to identify format, content, ideas to implement on your own resume, and to understand why and how to use a resume to articulate your experiences, strengths, and skills. So what you're seeing on the screen is called the career readiness competencies. You will probably hear the term career readiness being thrown around a lot. These 8 competencies were created by a professional association called NACE. It stands for National Association of Colleges and Employers. That consists of many employers, including all the Fortune 500 companies and career centers. So what they do is they survey employers and ask them, what are the most important skills and competencies that will help a student to successfully transition to workplace? I'd like you to look at these, and you should be able to see these badges around a lot of our workshops. Because when you think about how to develop your skills, you want to think about how you can communicate some of these factors through your skills. So what is a resume? Resume is a document that gets to showcase your experiences so far. So all of you should be only putting in anything starting from college. I would say for first and second year students, you can probably include things from high school. But after you are in your third year, you should really take out anything high school. It creates a great impression for the employer to see what are some of the skills that you have that's specific and relevant to the position you're applying to. And you need to be updated in the regular basis, and they need to be tailored to the position that you're applying for. We are going to go over a couple of formats for resume. Chronological format is the most commonly used version. It basically details your education, your experiences from the most recent to the oldest. So you will always put in what's your current position listed to your earliest position. It's easy for employers to see, and it's very effective in highlighting what's most relevant. And we will go over the content in detail in the following slides. As you can see, these are the most common sections on a resume. As you can see, your name is on top and your contact information. Objective is next, but it's optional. And it has been used in less frequency for employers. I would say if you don't have the space, you don't need to include objective. The next section will be education, your experiences, followed by skills, relevant coursework, and activities. We will go over each section in detail. Let's go over the education section. Education section usually is very important on a resume. When you review a job description, you will see a lot of times the first line of the requirement is education and major. Therefore, I highly recommend students to highlight your major and your degree, and not the school, so that it's easier for employers to see. How you list your education should be from the most recent to the oldest one. A few quick tips. You only want to list schools that you have received a degree. For example, I have students who attended community college and did not get a degree, such as an associate degree. I would recommend not putting it there. For students who get admitted to a master's program, you don't need to put it on there before you start attending. And you want to make sure that you put all the dates for the resume on the right side, just to make things balance. You can include a minor if you have one. You can include a study abroad experience if you have that experience as well. Relevant coursework can be listed only relevant to the position. Do not list more than 5 coursework. That's how I usually tell students, because it loses relevancy if you put a bunch of them there. As I mentioned earlier, objective is optional and it has to be very specific. Here are some of the examples. To obtain a summer marketing internship position at Deckers Outdoor Cooperation. So essentially, you will put the position you apply to at a specific company or organization. Please do not write a very long sentence because you want it to be easy for employer to read. However, you don't need to include it, especially if you're applying for multiple positions or if you are taking this resume to a career fair or upload it on Handshake or LinkedIn. The experience section will probably be the most important section of your resume because it communicates with employers. What are some of the skills that you are bringing to this position? It can be paid or unpaid. It can be any volunteering experiences, leadership roles, research, internships, and major projects. When I say major, as you can see, it's in cap on the slide. It has to be something that's probably about 30–40% of your grades. It cannot be something that's like a weekly quiz. It can also be your independent projects. For many of my STEM students, they do a lot of projects on their own, like coding, writing algorithm, developing their own apps. Those can be added as well. If you think things that you have done that will be directly or indirectly relate to the position, I will add it on there. And you can always meet with one of us to discuss how you're describing these and whether to include this experience or not.
So now we'll look at an example of how to write your experience. This is a student example. The student is a peer mentor at the Academic Resource Center. When we recommend students, or when we make recommendations to students about writing their bullet points for their experience sections, we recommend the TAR section, or the TAR method that you see on the right-hand section of this slide. So the TAR method stands for task, action, and result. Another way that I recommend students to think about this, because the TAR method can be difficult to understand at first, but with practice it'll become easier. But another way you can think about it is the task is what you did in a role. The action is how you did that task. And the result is why did you do that task in the first place? What is it that you were trying to achieve? What was your goal? What was the outcome you were trying to get to? So take a moment to stop the recording and look over the examples that we have here, all of the different bullet points, and identify the tasks, the actions, and the results. When you're done, be sure to check your answers on the next slide. And don't worry if it's still confusing or if you get things wrong. The TAR method takes practice, and communicating your bullet points effectively is probably the hardest part of resume writing, but like with anything, practice makes progress. So here we have all of the bullet points with the corresponding components highlighted. And as you might be able to see, Most of them, actually only one of them, has all three components, which is the last bullet point. So we have designed and implemented new virtual strategies, which is the task, using Canva, Zoom, and Slack, which is the action, and the result is, which resulted in new sustainable curriculum for all incoming new mentors. I usually inform my students to aim for all three components, but it might not be achievable every single time, and that's okay. I would just try to provide as much context as you think is necessary. So again, keep in mind who your audience is. What is it that the employer should know? What is it that you want to communicate to them? Think about that as you're writing your bullet points and deciding which components you need to include in each bullet point.
When you are writing your skills or experiences, I always tell students, use active voice. For example, instead of saying help somebody, say assist. The reason is that you want to make sure you communicate with employers that you are actively engaging. That's why we use the term action verbs that demonstrate the action that you have taken. And this list will give you some ideas about how you can describe your experiences.
So once you've completed all of the different sections you want to include on your resume and filled out your full 1 or 2 pages, you're still not done. For best results, we recommend tailoring your document to a specific job description or internship description each time you apply for a new role. So that doesn't mean you have to start over from scratch each time. What we recommend is having a one standard resume or a master resume that has all of the experience that you've ever had, and copy and paste the things that are relevant to the position. And then make sure that when you do so, the master resume becomes a tailored 1 or 2 page document. The master resume can be as long as you want it to be. It's really just for your reference and your eyes only. And then you can use that to be able to create a tailored resume for a specific position. So it's important to do so in order to make sure that you are keeping it relevant to the position. Again, keeping your target audience in mind. Who is this employer? What are they looking for? What is the person in this position supposed to bring to the employer in this position? So other things to take note of are keywords that are used in the job description. And this can be, just little edits that you do throughout your resume. So if a particular job description uses teamwork repetitively versus collaboration, make sure that you are also using the same language that they're using so that you can have the applicant tracking system that scans the resumes when you submit an application online can recognize this as one of the things that they're looking for a potential candidate for this role. Doing so also shows your attention to detail, which, as you might remember from the attributes slide or slides a few moments ago, it is really important to employers. Doing so can also show them that you know the company and understand what its goals are, as well as your understanding of the industry. So while it is tedious, as we've heard from students, it really is a way to ensure that you are getting the best results possible from your resume and your application. Something I hear a lot from students is that they've sent hundreds of applications and maybe have only heard back from maybe less than 10 employers, and they were all rejections. To kind of increase your odds, we recommend sending fewer applications if that means you're taking more time to tailor your resume and your other materials. We think that you'd be able to achieve a higher rate of success in getting interviews and potentially getting offers from there as well. Here we have a sample job description which talks about this particular leadership development program in data science and what it is that participants in this program will have the opportunity to do and how they will be able to grow within this program. Then underneath we have the different qualifications. So we have the types of majors that they're looking for, the GPA, and then different attributes that they're looking for. So strong desire and motivation to develop a career as a future leader in data science, related work or internship experience is strongly desired. They're also looking for the ability to manage, plan, and prioritize projects, experience in data collection and analysis, demonstrated leadership aptitude, learning agility and adaptability, and understanding of existing and emerging technologies. So what we recommend is anytime you see a job description that is interesting to you and you want to apply to, make sure that you make a copy of it, whether it is a hard copy or a digital copy. Have one for your records because this is going to be really helpful not only when you're tailoring your resume, but when you're preparing for interviews as well. So once you have your digital or hard copy, go through and highlight the things that the employer mentions is important to them. And then go back again and make sure that you highlight the things that the employer is looking for that you possess. And then you can go into your resume and make sure that you're plugging in the things that you have that the employer is looking for in your resume while you're adopting the language that they're using. So we can see this process a little bit more in action on the next slide. Now you can see that we have different things highlighted. So in this example, the student has the bachelor's degree in mathematics, the desire and motivation to develop a career as a future leader, ability to manage, plan, and prioritize projects, data collection and analysis, leadership aptitude, learning agility and adaptability, as well as existing and emerging technologies. So all of the things that you highlight in a job description, be sure that you are communicating these things clearly and effectively in your resume, ideally using similar language that can be found in the job description. And you might notice that not every single point in the qualifications is highlighted, and that's okay. You don't need to have every single thing in the qualifications to apply for a position. If you have a majority of them, we would encourage you to apply.
What else do you need? So we talked about references page, and then we will show you the format later. But think about how you can use the resume that you have created and put it on your LinkedIn.
While you're working on your resume, feel free to refer to the resources that we have on our website, careers.ucr.edu. You can use the navigation bar at the top of the web page, or you can simply type in resume on the careers.ucr.edu website to find resume samples, our resume workshop in PDF and recorded form, as well as our handouts.
If you have any questions, please feel free to send us an email at careercounseling, or one word, careercounseling@ucr.edu. We will be more than happy to answer that for you.